Happy Friday morning.
Ah,
Emily, how are you doing? Emily, Atlantis Wolf, back again.
back again.
I am thrilled to be back. I'll be honest. I had such a great time talking to you guys last time. And in a case of full transparency, I get invited to a lot of podcasts, and I was absolutely excited to be able to come back here because I say no a lot.
Thank you.
Sure.
Time is our only currency. We don't know how much sand is in the hourglass. And so don't give your time away, right? Spend your time with people you love, people you respect, people you admire. And I feel like we collectively find the vibration of the people who are also going through the things that we're going through, and that we just light each other's candle, we ladder each other up. It's one of my favorite African proverbs. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a tribe.
Yeah. I love that saying. And I actually really love your tee up here for today's chat, because like everything you said really just so perfectly, it's almost like you've done this before. Almost perfectly like lines us up. But like one of the, we were talking before we hit record, one of the reasons we wanted to have you back is like, we just didn't finish the conversation. It felt like we had so much more to tap into. And when we started kind of discussing about today, I'm like, I'm just so excited about it, because like, it's things that everyone can relate to. Mm-hmm. Everyone we've talked to on the show, and more broadly, everyone I talk to about these topics, almost exclusively touches these two categories, right? And just as the preface here, I think I want to hear more from you about the accessibility side of it, because I think this is a big one.
Well, yeah. And even broader than just spirituality, right? I mean, God, we had Erica back on, a gynecologist, last night, and her whole thing is like, what the fuck's going on with healthcare? There seems to be a lack of accessibility to everything right now.
She says she's 3 to 6 months out to be booked because her schedule is just crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is to get your vagina looked at. Like, it's an important part of your body. You probably want to maybe not have to wait 6 months to get that taken care of.
Yeah. And that could be the difference between disease getting worse and being able to stay healthy.
She was talking about that. Yeah, exactly. And so when you start talking about the time equation, she's like, you go on hormone replacement, and that takes a few months to kind of get going, right? And then takes a few more months to understand if it's working, to readjust to this, that, and the other. Then if you get to the point where it's not working, now it's 3 to 6 months to book an appointment with her. Now, by the time you've got eyes on the problem, it could be a year. Absolutely. And you could have a tumor growing in you for a year before anyone knows what the fuck is going on. And that comes down to in not so indirect access, right? Yeah. Like this is, and so, and I do want to also spend some time talking about that, like something has changed, because I think that's the other thing that, man,
we're all feeling
everybody, bro. Everybody.
And validating that it's real, validating that your lived experience, it doesn't matter if you are in the matrix, out of the matrix, if you consider yourself to be connected to spirituality. If you're collecting garbage, or if you're a CEO, something is happening in your body that cannot be ignored. Not easily. I mean, you can ignore it, but people are waking up. All these conversations that I'm having with my students, with my clients, with my family, with myself, people all of a sudden wake up. They can't eat yogurt, or they can't eat gluten. They can't eat flour. And it's not just people who are going through a midlife age shift or things like that. No, it's everyone. The palette is changing. What people are hearing is changing. There are physical things. And just for, let's say, anybody who is coming in, I have to believe people listening to your podcast have to be kind of on the woo spectrum of woo-woo.
No,
this is the manosphere right here. We're going to talk about UFC and how great Trump is.
Yeah. But if you're not,
they're all heavy sports fans.
Let me just give you the 10-second primer on the physical world. Everything that is in the physical world, everything around you, started out as a thought. So the way that things come into this physical world, this carbon-based simulation hologram that we call our reality, it has to start as light, which is all possibility, move into a thought, which is an expression, move down into where we can catch it, and someone needs to anchor it. In other words, everything around you, somebody had as a thought in their head before they designed it, put it on paper, brought it into life, brought it in material form. And that includes your body. So your body is collectively, all of us, bringing down these thoughts, these vibrations, and trying to anchor it into this reality. So you're not crazy. You are experiencing what we're all experiencing. And I deeply want people to hear that's normal.
I love that. Like, that's absolutely Taoism 101 too, and East Asian medicine as well. And there was nothingness, right? This Wu Wei, right? We talk about that in Tai Chi too. And then an idea, Yi, intellect kind of came in and manifested everything, right? Yin and Yang, and then the 10,000 things. But it's so crazy that every traditional theory starts with something like that. And now we're coming back to it, Yeah.
And you are the ultimate creator. So if a thought comes to you, not in your subconscious mind, which is run by paradigms, patterns, and, hopes to God that yesterday is the same as today to keep you alive. But the conscious part of you can reject reality, can reject a message that you're getting, can reject a thought. And we often forget that we have the power. We are the sculptors of the clay. So when something comes to you, feel free to go back to that beautiful program called Mythbusters and remember one of their favorite quotes: I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Right. Well, and it's funny that, because reality really is redundant. This guy, Zat Rana, said this years ago, and it's like one of those things that's just stuck in my brain as like one of the most truthful statements ever, right? Like it just keeps coming back upon itself. And in this case, it's like, I'm laughing because we've had, Tom, 5, 6 people in the last couple months, from manifestation to you name it. It's all saying very similar things, right? It's like giving people agency over saying this is going to happen, this is not going to happen, or this is undefined and probably will not happen until I put better definition around it.
Correct.
All of those things, to me, keep saying the same thing over and over again, that we're just not passengers on this ride. And I think that's really hard, though. Like, I mean, look, I just speak for myself, forget about everybody else. It's hard to be a dad, to be a business owner, to be a husband, to be a friend, to be a son, to be a brother, to be a marathon runner, to be a woodworker, a photographer, and God help you if you want to do all those things at the same time. Right?
Yeah.
It's real fucking hard. And it's real fucking hard when any two of those things are going wrong.
Right.
To still want to do any of them.
Matt's pointing the finger at me right now.
No, I'm not.
No, I mean it's at everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm not, and I am. Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And I like to remind people, as an intuition teacher, one of my jobs is to remind people you have all of this sensory input. So your senses are giving you information that's coming into your body, but inside your body are your intellectual faculties. So your ability to reason, to choose, to discipline yourself, to shut down things, to say yes, those are lived practical skills that we have inside of us. And it's between those two. What am I getting from the outside and how am I handling it on the inside that decides whether or not we are handling all of those spinning plates at the same time. And if we let all the plates drop, so what? The earth still spins.
Like, who cares? Yeah,
who cares?
Exactly.
Literally, who cares? Because we have this feeling of, if I'm not productive, I'm worthless. Like I'm roadkill. If I'm not productive, I'm literally roadkill on the highway of life. I will be shut down, shut out, exiled, whatever. And
I just want to throw devil's advocate in this a little bit, because like I make fun of myself all the time. I'm like, I'm got 1 foot genital deep in woo-woo land.
Mhm.
I'm like, it's not even a foot anymore. It's my whole leg. I'm all into it, right?
Right.
And then the other side is basically a scientist who's like, show me. I want to fucking see it. I don't believe
but that's it. That's it, right?
Exactly.
It's
but
the both and.
It's the both, but here's the thing, manifestation. We talked about this with Elena, right? Like that is, in my mind, just as likely to be manifestation as it is to be attention to all the details that you had to put in place to get that to manifest, right? And to me, it's very hard for me to pull those two things apart, because so many times when you hear things like, you're the author of your own destiny, great. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means I want this job, I want this relationship, I want this other thing. But all those things are great, but if you want that job, you have to have gone to school or know how to get that information. You have to know how to network. You have to be personable. You have to be intelligent. There's a bunch of shit you have to physically do in order for this to manifest.
And that's
it's not just the universe being like, I'm going to babysit Matt Hampton today because he's a nice guy. No.
Well, you get what you want, but you have to focus on it, and you have to understand that the concept, where those two legs come together, and I know exactly where that is that you are moving forward. It's faith based on understanding. So you understand that what you want is coming, but it's not coming because you're sitting on the couch drinking beers. It's coming because you want that so much that you focus on, how can I get there? I can get an education. I can talk to more people. I can overcome the paradigm that says my family is poor, my dad's poor, his dad was poor. It's just not going to happen for me. And you face the paradigms that say it's too hard, it's too difficult, it's for other people. That is the journey. The journey is faith that I can have anything I want, because if I can imagine it, it's real. But I'm going to move forward, moving into all those details, saying yes to all the details, yes to all the work, yes to all the labor, because that happens in this world where I'm trying to create that awesomeness, and I'm not going to stop. But the fuel that gets me there is still what I want.
Right. I see what you're saying.
I love the veiled reference to sexual transmutation too. I'm in the middle of a Mitch Horowitz book, and so what do you do after you make the sigil? What? How come that's not talked about more in Wiccan practices?
I mean, sex magic is a real thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Sex magic is definitely a real thing. That's funny. Yeah, so I guess let's talk about how I want this accessibility thing, right? Because I think these things start going, now we start to kind of overlap, right? Because what we're already talking about is, are these things accessible to you to be able to shift from a victim mentality to a authority mentality? Like, I'm a driver now, not a passenger.
Yeah.
In not indirectly related, that's knowledge. That's accessibility to that power, to that even possibility. So let's explore this.
Yeah. So I'm going to go, since you're talking about real world examples, I'm going to use a real world example.
Okay.
Of how do you get what you want? The first thing you have to do is access your imagination. If you cannot imagine it, you can't have it. In other words, if you can't imagine getting a certain amount of money, doing a certain thing, if you can't even imagine it, and I know for a fact, because I'm thinking about a person in class, I had a walkthrough. It's $500 deposit to take my 6-month course. And I said, if you don't have $500, I have a program for free. I'll give it to you. It's how to manifest $500 in 5 days or less. And I have 100% success, except for one person who manifested exactly 53 cents. And I said, why didn't you manifest? Did you do everything? And she said, yeah. I said, why do you think you didn't manifest it? She said, I knew I wouldn't. I just walked through the steps to prove it to you. And I said, one, I'm prosperous.
Yeah, right.
Number two, 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 is a number of infinity. So you had a chance to be prosperous and you made yourself the smallest prosperity coin ever. 53 cents, which is 8. And number two, the other person who went through it didn't take it up, because when I said, what does wealth look like for you? Because the end result is you want to be wealthy and you're not. What does wealth look like for you? Because it looks like different things to different people. It could be a tiny house. It could be a nomad. It could be owning a jet. It could be anything. And he said, I have no idea.
How can you manifest something if you can't define it? Yeah.
You can't. It's not possible. Yeah. So I will give you a real world example of the other side. I wanted to go to Egypt a couple of years ago. All of a sudden, Egypt was coming up. I have past lives in Egypt. I can feel them, remember them. And I thought, I want to go to Egypt. And in the process of doing that, I literally thought, yeah, that would be cool. I didn't think about how, when, how many people, how much it would cost, nothing, because that seemed completely out of my league of imagining. But I did want to go. I really wanted to go. I was on a book project and there was a couple and they needed help writing. And I used to do writing coaching when I was the COO of a small book publishing company. So I helped them out. They were great. They were pretty spiritual, like pretty deep into their practice, but they were just having trouble with the nuts and bolts, helped them out. 6 months later, they say, hey, we're going to do another book project. We're going to lead a project. And I thought, oh, they want me to be an author because I'm a good writer. It's going to be in Egypt. And we're going to have 30 people. That's 2 Felucia boats, 2 of those long, fancy, expensive boats. And we need you to hold space on one of the boats, because one of the things I do is my energy field is nice, big, and juicy, and I hold a big, peaceful space. And I said, that's great. I don't have $18,000. And they said, oh, no. You go free. Can you afford the ticket to Cairo? Which was like $2,000 at that time. And I said, yes, but I couldn't. So I asked my friend, hey, I've got this amazing opportunity to go to Egypt and all I need is a plane ticket. Will you pay for my plane ticket? And he said, sure. I couldn't imagine I didn't have to worry about the details. I didn't have to worry about the food, the getting there and everything. All I needed to do is imagine it and say yes and let it come. So when people talk about manifestation, the most important thing to believe is that it's possible.
Right. And it's funny, unrelated, but related, but also, I guess, beneficial in what you're saying in the world now. But AI, I keep saying, is like the imagination economy, right? Like we're moving into a spot where the economy is not based on what you know, it's what you can imagine. And all of a sudden you're finding out that these really smart people in the previous way of doing business aren't as smart as you think they were, because that the new currency isn't how much they know from Wharton.
Yeah.
It's how much can they, and actually we heard this years ago, guy at Microsoft said it's more likely that a art student in 2030 will run a Fortune 50 company than a Wharton grad. And he said that in like 2018. So this was pre chat GPT. So he even saw what was coming. And I think that, like, what I find exciting about that in relationship to what you just said is if you have people commercially retuning to an imagination, what do we maybe accidentally get in the manifestation world?
Yes.
Because now they're just literally being that much more imaginative.
Right, because AI can only pull from the end result. So if we're talking about light to thought to form to matter, AI is really only able to pull from the matter sphere, the reality that we have right now. It has no imagination. It can spark imagination.
Yeah, correct.
It can spark an idea. You can give it something to put together. But ultimately, we are the keepers of imagination in this world.
And that is the one piece about AI that I find most interesting, and the one that I think gets lost in the headlines is that you're right. AI is not imagination, but if you're paying attention, it absolutely will spark your imagination, which will then lead to more discovery. So you're using it almost like a tool. But to your point, though, like if I could only attain what I could envision, like through my imagination, and my day job, as it were, is to use my imagination, like, does life get easier? Like, I don't know. Like, it's an interesting, like, you know, people haven't had to use their imagination in the real world.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and then that becomes the commodity, right? Because if we have AI, we see what can be created. But at some point, it also, like, if you ask someone, did AI create this movie or this short or this reel? Everybody will tell you yes or no. There's something intrinsically non-living about it.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And so we already know that we have that. And at some point, people will get bored. I mean, my kids are 24 and 22, and they hate all the AI commercials. It's
funny how quickly that generation developed that muscle, isn't it? Like, it happened almost overnight. Like, it was like, wow, and I mean, listen, I do it for a living, so I'm not a fair example, but like, I can see it instantaneously. Like, it's, you know, every one of those tests, which one of these, that one, like, you know, like, it takes no time. But that generation, my kids are younger than yours by like a decade, but like, I mean, they have that shit on automatic. Like, it's not even like, you know, I think it's cool. It's very interesting skill, because my mom, you know, if my grandparents were alive, I put them in that. There's no fucking way.
Oh God, the number of stuff my wife sends me, and I'm like, hon, you know, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not, no, babe, I love you. That's
fan-based fiction.
Yeah.
That's not real.
But like, we were at dinner over the weekend with my mother, or breakfast with my mother-in-law, and like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times in this conversation, she's like, "Oh my God, did you see?" And my wife is like, "Mom, that shit's not real. What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like,
do you guys remember on I think it was the History Channel, they did, and I have no idea why they did it. They did like a series on mermaids, and they made it like a documentary. Right. So right. You know, they had fake artifacts that they found, like a spear made out of whale bone. And, you know, and they had, you know, they were interviewing sailors that saw one. And I'm like, wow, that they really tried to make that look real. Right. And you know, they never showed you a mermaid, but I mean, you know, you watch the Bigfoot thing, you never see a Bigfoot. So, you know, so I'm actually at these two people, both extremely well educated. I'm treating their dog. And the woman goes, "Isn't it horrible what those sailors did to those mermaids?" And I go, you
fuck are you talking about?
You know, that was like a mockumentary, right? It wasn't funny. It was like it was developed to be like, oh, here's a true looking. And she goes, "Really?" And I go, you're in your 60s. When's the last time you've heard about mermaids? What, you were like 13, right? You know, like, they're like, this was not real. And now with AI, like, people are sending me like, "Oh, look at this animal. Did you know this existed?" I'm like, look, there's a lot of weird shit out there. This animal does not exist.
Yeah.
Nothing has a nose on its back. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But you know what, though? Like, famous people are saying they watch these AI-driven animal channels, and they're like, I can't see enough of it. And I said, you know what? We've just invented like a new genre. Like, we know it's fake. We don't care. You know, I can't imagine spending a literal second of my life watching that, but that's me. You know, like, I just, that's what I'm saying. I don't have enough time to consume the amount of shit I want to consume, let alone a fake animal video about something stupid.
Right.
I mean, they're entertaining, but you know, whatever.
It is, but I would also say, okay, so that does exist in the world. It's still better to read a book and imagine that animal with a nose and a fin and a thing, and to let it, to, like you were saying, to flex that muscle. To imagine, because otherwise we're just dumbing ourselves down to, I can't even create anything, so I'm going to look at this low level version of nature and say, well, it is interesting what happens when imagination is really the currency, because there are some people that just don't have that skill. No.
Like, so like, what happens to them? Like, what does poverty in an imagination economy look like? Like, I don't know.
Well,
I think
I've talked to people
looks
that
like
can't.
you're online all the time. You're on your phone and you're online and you're consuming instead of creating. I think that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, that would have to be it, right? I mean, but then I guess the question there is like, what's your self-worth? I mean, the mental impact of that is a little bit
Brutal.
tragic. Yeah,
Oh,
because
for sure.
You're waiting
immediate.
for exterior input to form
Right.
anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you become highly influenced by that exterior input.
Mhm.
And now that becomes the way that you think and the way that you imagine reality. And your belief system is based on something that's either possibly not real or so skewed that you start to defend it and say, this is real. And it's like, no, it's not.
And that skew part is the part that I get tripped up on, because that's absolutely real. And I mean, you see that everywhere you look now. And like that skew makes it hard. I mean, listen, what social media has done to our political landscape is the easiest example of this.
For
right?
sure.
Like, you either are left or you right, and there is absolutely no room in between those spots ever. And that's just not real.
No.
And it's not necessary. And yet it is. And it very much is. Like, exclamation point, highlight, bold, like it's out there, right? You know, like angry face emoji with the zipper over its mouth. Like, I mean, it is like everywhere you look, right?
Yeah.
And that is not because of anything other than we just force that through repetition as reality. It's and like, what happens if every video you see ends up becoming, it's fake? Like, in a year from now, you see an animal dead on the side of the road or dying, and your old instinct was to help it, get it to a vet, whatever. And now you're like, nah, whatever. It's just, like, and I just feel like the disconnect is real.
Well, maybe we go through the wormhole. Maybe we watch things that are fake for so long that we get so bored that we finally just put down the phone and put down the tech and go outside.
I actually saw a story this morning, and it gave me a little bit of hope that Gen Z is going to parties that are no phone parties.
Yeah, and no alcohol too.
Yeah.
No alcohol.
Is it weird if a 50-year-old dude goes to a Gen Z party with no
Let's
phones?
find out.
I want to go.
Yes, Matt. I will answer that one for you. Do not go.
I want to go to a party.
No, it's good data. Go, man, go.
I want to go to a party where no phones are allowed. I told my family that we will have dinner parties with a basket. You throw your phone in, and they all like shunned me as though I like.
Well, did you ever see the thing that looks like a peppercorn grinder and you put it in the middle of the table and it kills Wi-Fi in like a 3-foot radius?
No,
wow.
I
put it on the table.
I gotta Amazon that shit right now.
You put it on the table and it's a Wi-Fi kill zone, and it kills the Wi-Fi in like a 3 to 5 foot radius specifically. So you put it on a dining room table, and that you all have to talk to each other. But to your point, there's also like there's a bookstore that opened up across the street. And I'm in Cleveland, so I've seen this in bigger cities, London and, bigger cities, New York. But they have crafting hours where you come to work on your craft project and there's no phones allowed. No phone, no tech, no nothing. It's just bring your craft project or read a book, but you get to be around humans for these 2 or 3 hours and just talk about your knitting, your sewing, your scrapbooking, or the book you're reading.
Awesome.
And I feel like this is important. I feel like this is important to see it coming all the way to the Great Lakes, what used to be the Rust Belt region, and be successful. I was just enchanted. I want to go and support them to do this because I think that this is the pendulum swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that there is a bit of that. I mean, we were just talking about this with my kids. My daughter, who's 15, has got one of those old digital cameras.
That
we all used to use. And I love it.
Even low-tech phones, you're seeing like the resurgence of like a flip phone that can really just make a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what people want. They're overwhelmed. The consumption has reached a level where people feel like they're just choking on it and they don't want it anymore. I mean, I turned off all notifications a year ago just over a year ago. All notifications. My phone does not ring. It does not beep. It does not vibrate. Nothing. I interact with it in the morning to check on my daughter who's in Chicago, and I check on it at 5 o'clock to see if the world is blowing up.
Yeah, I'm not quite as disciplined on those last two pieces, but I've had all notifications on my phone off for
It's
a decade.
beautiful.
And I'm playing Pokemon Go as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I think this is one of those access things, right? Like I have access to the settings panel on my phone to turn that shit off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but there's this weird thing. Like my wife is just like Tom's. I was like, he's like,
well, I was joking there, but
no, about sending shit to you. I'm like, my wife's version of that is she'll be like, well, I can't turn off my phone's notifications because what if something happens? I'm like, everyone you give a shit about's in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you fucking need your phone on? Like, no, there's nothing.
Right.
But I feel like I went through that at some point. I'm like, all right, I have all of these apps on my phone and I'm getting a ping every 30 seconds. And at first you're like, oh, cool, something's happening. And then it's like, this bullshit again? You know, and you start to get so run out that like, look, here's my priority list. I want the text notification if it's my wife or my kids. And other than that, I don't care. And I did.
But you have to go. And you know what? This is actually a great illustration of what people's biggest like pushback to me has been with all these health things that we talk about. It's difficulty because doing that isn't a 40-second activity that you have to like go figure it out, go into each contact and set the things up, you know, like, yeah, you can do all that stuff, but it takes effort. It takes volition. It takes time.
That feels like an excuse though, to me. I mean, it's worth the effort. It's absolutely worth the effort to go figure it out.
I know it's an excuse, but like when you talk to people about like, I've used this example on the show several times, but it works again here. I was on paleo and lost a bunch of weight years ago. And they're like, so what? You're just going to not eat bread ever again? I'm like, maybe. Is bread that fucking important? I don't know. Like, is this what we're getting hung up on here? Like,
right.
You know, like, are we focusing on this part? Like, this is the least important part of this entire conversation.
That actually just happened to me because I started to do the eating window because fasting. I lost 85 pounds after my son was born 25 years ago. So I know what it's like to be heavy. But I also worked out that my body doesn't like sugar after I eat, and it doesn't really like flour. I worked out all the things. But then at menopause, I was like, well, I feel okay, but maybe I could feel better. So if I eat from 9 to 5 and that's it, I still eat the same stuff. I haven't changed what I eat. I just changed when. It turns out that I lost 10 pounds and I'm more peaceful when I wake up. And I wasn't expecting that. But when I went to dinner with some girlfriends and it was 6 o'clock. And I said, yeah, I'm just here for the company. I don't eat after 5. You would have thought that I said, you know, I'm a Nazi.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm going to judge you the entire time you eat. They're like, why are you here? I said,
why'd you even fucking waste our time?
Right. Exactly. And I made sure to support the restaurant. I got something to go, gave it to my son. You know, I wasn't there to just, you know, suck off of the community.
Ice water.
With a bottomless pitcher. But I was surprised that there was such a big emotional reaction when it's like, this is what works really, really well for me. Wouldn't you want to say, what did you do? Does that create anxiety? How long have you been doing this? But it was... if you and I were at dinner in that situation, we would need 4 dinners to go through the amount of questions I'd have for you. I mean, it would just never stop. Right? I'd be like, okay, whatever we were here to talk about, this is now about you. Like, yeah. But I was shocked because it's been over 30 days now. And I am absolutely shocked. Like my skin is clearer, my moods. I'm not like a super moody person, but I wake up with like kung fu David Carradine levels of peace, and it's wild. Like I've had better meditations, I've had better evenness, better like more creative thoughts. Just all of this stuff has changed just because I don't eat after 5 o'clock. And again, to be clear, I have not changed how much I eat or what I eat.
But that's another one of those things though, right? Like it's the same kind of pushback. Oh, what? I'm never going to go out to dinner at 5 o'clock. What am I, 100? And I'm like, you know, like, okay, like if you want to get bent out of shape about that. I mean,
Right.
sure, but like also you don't have to necessarily do that 7 days a week, 365 days a
No,
year.
no.
If there's a college graduation and it's happening at 8 p.m. and that's when your whole family's there, okay, maybe you eat, maybe you eat less, maybe you eat
Right.
a regular dinner because one day ain't going to kill you. Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
so I would just start eating at 1 that day.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Really that
and that's the
simple.
thing about IF, right? You can kind of move that
the
window.
window
around,
the
right?
window
Like,
can slide.
yeah, you know.
And I'm totally fine with that. But it was a surprise. I was surprised. I was just
And
surprised.
it's funny, I'm not at all, because I mean, I've been doing IF for years, and I'm not at all surprised by that. I absolutely echo that with exclamation points all over the place. I mean, when I do that, it's everything changes.
Most of the times it's by accident for me. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to eat.
Yeah.
You know, like, busy day at work, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I'm going home in a few. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You know?
And there we go.
Yeah.
I
It's
lost
really
my seasonal allergies, Emily, after 30 years of having seasonal allergies. I
Whoa.
lost them. Yeah, it went away. I mean, that was a couple years ago. I really kind of dialed back in on that. Probably, when did I do Happy Healthy, Tom? 2 years ago.
I
now,
feel
right?
like
Probably?
we've been doing this 5 years now, man. I like it all kind of blurs
It's all
together.
blending together. Yeah. But yeah, Emily, I did a whole thing for the show. Guests were on the show, these Happy Healthy thing. And one of the big things was that eating window. And I had done it many times before, but like since I did that, like probably 2 years ago now,
Yeah.
I have like largely kept with that. Again, it's not 7 days a week, but it's mostly as many days. And I'll tell you what, I don't have allergies. My whole family's sneezing up a storm right now.
Oh yeah, it's horrible right now too. Yeah.
I'm fine. Totally fine.
My biggest thing is to work through the anxiety, because I was heavy as a kid and heavy as an adult.
Mm.
I mean, when I had my son, I didn't have an 85-pound boy. It was really just the anxiety of, what do you mean I can't eat after 5? So I had to call it an eating window, and I couldn't use the word fasting, because if I use the word fasting, it would trigger my brain
it
felt
into
restrictive.
I'm shutting you down. I'm in control. You're not in control. Like, it was really, that part was also very interesting. So for anybody who's listening that's trying it, yeah, there's going to be anxiety. But for me, I'm just going to use myself as an example. I'm half Mexican and I have an hourglass shape. So basically I could be like, there's enough energy in this ass to sustain you overnight, sweetheart. Get a grip.
Yeah,
I think we found the t-shirt.
Yeah.
that is the t-shirt for the episode. There's enough energy in this ass. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
And I had to talk myself down, right? Like off the ledge, because there's true anxiety around eating for me.
Well, you know, that's beautiful too, because you're not just talking about manifesting. Here's what I want. You're talking about the frame to get to that, right? Oh, if I word it this way, these things come up. But if I take the same thing, reframe it, use this to describe it, now I don't have that catch that's telling me no.
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly that bread thing, that bread example that I used. I was like, you know what? It's not hard, because it went from I can't eat bread to I don't eat bread.
Correct.
And it was just a simple change. One word swap made all the difference in the world.
You know, I did this with my dad when he got a diabetes diagnosis, right? I said, look, Dad, you know, this is type 2. This is early detection. Here's a diet, you know, and it you know, for what it's worth, it was a book about keto in the early days, or whatever, gluten-free, all these kind of things. And his first thing was, I'm Italian. What do you mean I can't eat bread and pasta? And I'm like, I think you're missing the point here, right? Like, you could not have a disease.
Right.
He thought he was losing out. And I'm like, all you have to do is think, I can eat everything except these couple of things.
Exactly.
And
put it on the scale. Put it on the scale. What do you want more? Do you want to eat pasta, or do you want to live to see your great grandchildren for one more Christmas?
Yeah.
Right.
But like, I'm such a mom. I'm always like, do I want to see my kids for one more Christmas, or do I want to change my eating pattern?
Part people are like, I don't know. You know, this is too hard. I can't. You know what I mean? Like,
fine, I'll see you at your funeral.
But I also feel that's a generational thing, Emily. I think our generation goes, shit, I'm looking at my parents, I'm looking at my grandparents and how they looked so fucking old when they were my age now, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want to end up there. So that's how we're manifesting that, is what I would say. We're saying, no, I don't want to go there. What do I have to do to avoid that? You know, and for my dad, it was the generation like, oh, they gave me a pill.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not trying to knock my dad right now, but I can see it on him, right? I'm afraid to give up something. The guy with the lab coat gives me something, and I'm okay.
Sort of.
Sort of, right? You know?
Sort of.
And meanwhile, I'm looking at the vials of shit I inject in myself in front of the camera.
Right. Well, you know, but I've seen people, I'm 56, and there was somebody even there at the dinner table, and they were saying, you know, we have to get together now while we still can. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, well, it's really downhill from here. And I looked at her and I thought, 56? Like,
I'm like, what the fuck scale are you on, lady?
I'm eating, sleeping, and living to be 103. Like that is my stated goal to everybody who knows me, to give up, to be like, oh, it's all downhill from here.
Kind of numerology thing going on?
I don't know. I was saying 128 for me, and I had no. I was like, that sounds good.
I can tell you, for me, it's I want to live to be 100, but I'll probably be a little slower. So I want to live to be 100. I want to see everybody, and then I think it's going to take about 3 years for me to give away all my stuff, to sort out my estate and whatever like that. So I'm giving myself 100 plus a 3-year buffer to deal with the details.
So Emily, what happens if you make it to 110 and you're sitting there with nothing?
I will be so zen. I will be living on like morning sunlight.
She's the breatharian then.
I'll totally be the breatharian at that point. I'll just be like, it is possible. You just need to manifest the sunlight.
We had somebody on the show the other day said something I keep hearing more and more these days, is like, I want to live to 130 if I so choose to. And I said, you know, it's funny, that keeps coming up, right? Because we've never, ever in the entire history of the planet, even one time considered that your death was in any way, shape, or form influenceable. And now you got people that are like, I think.
Well, that's where I get sciencey, because I know that the telomeres on your DNA, when your DNA splits, your telomeres do get a little shorter. There is a physical limit. So unless you are going to get to that level where you're some kind of like injecting stem cells or stopping time or going through a portal.
I just read something about a drug that they're developing that can increase lifespan.
And they're also saying now that telomere length is not the gold standard of longevity that we once thought. And so again, when you start peeling this back, it's like anything else, right? You know what you know up to the line you're at, and you can kind of see around one corner, but seeing around 5 is a lot harder.
But wanting it, I would say imagining it and wanting it. I can imagine myself at 103. I can imagine what it's going to be like versus the person I'm sitting next to going, it's over. It's downhill. Like,
it's funny. It's funny you say that. I did a hypnosis, like future self exercise. And this was probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I envisioned myself in my 60s, then my 70s and my 80s. I saw me getting older, but my vitality was maintaining. And in particular, I'm remembering the 70s went up.
Really? You're the second person I know who said that 70s are really like a bump.
We really have had some guests on that I think really identify with that, and they represent that pretty well. I mean, Justin Elliott Justin, he's got 2 first names, but I mean, he's like in his he's mid 70s, and he's fucking fire. And then Garnet Dupree, man, like that guy. Yeah, that guy's my guru now. I'm gonna call it.
And he's in his 70s.
He's 76.
It looks and acts like he's in his 50s.
We hang out with him, and I'm like, he's our age.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like that's all a mental framework, right? Like those people are manifesting that reality 100%. And, I make fun of my son. We were watching a movie the other day, and he sees me in my chair, and I'm the weird guy doing like pulling my leg above my head, watching a movie, stretching and stuff. Right. And my son he looks at me, I see him clocking me and smiling. I'm like, what, you can't do this? And he tries to touch his toes and can't do it. I'm like, you're 17. I was like, you're fucking embarrassing. Like, I was like, I'm almost 50 and I'm like, I can't do the splits or anything. It's not like that. But like,
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there going, well, look, I'm heading in at least one right direction. My 17-year-old can't touch his toes, even though he's 1% body fat and does every sport under the sun, you know, like,
yeah,
he's definitely not an unhealthy guy. But at the same time, I'm like, that vision that I have, is it because I'm gifted anatomically, or is it because I have this deep rooted vision of me in my 70s as this like guy who looks, acts, and talks exactly like I'm doing right now?
I think it's the repetition of the idea. You have the idea in your head, and you have that repetition. You don't have anything that breaks that pattern, that paradigm, or that image. So you keep it both in your conscious and your subconscious. So now that's just a pattern where, yeah, of course I'm going to do this. It's an expectation that you've set.
It's an expectation, right? It's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
That this is going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, every time when I see myself in like my 90s, I'm dressed all in white and I'm in this little like white geodesic dome in Sedona that nobody can find me at. And anybody who does find me, they have like a bag of $50,000 and I say, put it there. And then I come into the back. And then I spend the next 3 weeks healing whatever it is wrong with them. And it's ridiculous. Like they come up with it, and it doesn't matter. Like it absolutely doesn't matter. But if you can find me, I will heal you. And I see this all the time. Like I see this all the time, that people find me and they have like every problem known to civilized man. And then I'm like, great, leave your tech, leave your phone, leave your everything here, leave the $50,000 in cash and go to the back hut. And I just take a cup of tea, like a little pot of tea. And I just look at them and I just sit there and look at them for like half hour. And I just figure out like what's wrong, and I can intuitively tell, and they're sweating and they're figuring it out, and they're like, what? And I said, you won't know when you're leaving, but you'll be well when you leave.
That's awesome. You did just describe what ended up getting a lot of women burnt at the stake in the dark ages, though.
Yeah.
Definitely, though, it is a little bit more. But I was in a house or glass walls where I could see nature through every wall of that. It's like a little bit more than weird that we had such a similar, like so many crossovers there.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll be in the next 10 acres next to me.
It's a duplex dome.
It's a duplex dome. Yeah.
I love that.
That's hilarious.
So the one thing I want to make sure that I touch on too is when this concept of accessibility. I grew up poor. Like we grew up on a dirt road in rural Ohio. My mom stayed home with us. My dad was an engineer. They got married at 19 and 20. When they graduated, they had me and my brother. I mean, poor, right? Like starting out poor. And accessibility was always important. Go to the library, get your books at the library, you get like one or two things and hand it down and things like that. And it stuck with me so that it's important for me to always be able to explain to people, regardless of their educational level, their social level, anything, what's happening to them. When I was doing medical massage, they would say, I have plantar fasciitis. And I would say, do you know what that is? And they would say, no. And I would talk about how it's a circulation issue and we're going to use kinesio tape. And I have 100% success rate with getting rid of it. Really, because they told me I needed surgery. I'm like, nobody needs surgery for inflammation, especially not for that. So this concept of education and accessibility was really important. And I spent the last 6 months turning my 6-month program, which is $10,000. It's very expensive. It's very real. And the transformation is permanent. But I spent the last 6 months turning it into an online program. So you can buy the whole thing. You can buy the modules, just individual modules, $97. You could buy all 12, $9.97. And if you can't afford that, you can rent it for a monthly membership for $27. Because to me, I always want whatever knowledge I've acquired, distilled, and been able to transfer to be accessible. It is the torch that I hold, that knowledge, wisdom, learned experiences, the community mind, all of that is for all of us.
How do you translate the piece of that, though, that we keep talking about here, which is, so we can circumvent the financial block. Okay. And I think that's what you're kind of touching on here, right?
Yeah.
But even if I gave somebody something for free,
yeah,
they still have to pull the trigger. Like they still have to
so
get on the
they have to
train.
pull the trigger, and it's information is not transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like there's a reason why it's $10,000 to do it with me and it's permanent. But if you can't afford that, I at least want you to be able to make some progress. And at the end of the day, what I see people, you may not want to pull the trigger now. But when your husband has a heart attack at 50, when you lose your job, when you're 45, when there's going to be some kind of a death of your relationship, identity, marriage, when your life crashes, you will look for answers.
Yep.
And unfortunately, nobody is in their rat race, busy life going, I should just really take a couple weeks or months to look in myself and see if everything is working well. We can, but we don't. No. And so they're going to pull the trigger when they need it.
Yeah. A good friend of mine had a funny phrase, and Tim, this one's for you. He's like, the graveyards are filled with people who are in a rush, and I was like, that's such a good, beautiful perspective comment, right? Because like, I try to literally live by that. Every time I feel myself like that anxiety welling up, I try to remember his words in my head, because I'm like, yeah, you know what? And that's where I manifest the opposite. Okay, let me manifest a solution to this problem that's not based in crazy.
Well, and you don't want the music to die inside of you. You know, you don't want to have a dream. I mean, I go down to the Caribbean every April. I finish my projects. I fill myself up. I get creative. I get like all the things. I walk on the beach. I do everything that makes me happy. I bumped into, literally, like, this guy was taking a picture of a sea turtle that I was really vibing with, and he bumped into me. He was trying to take a picture of it, and I pushed him away from me, and I was like, hi, and he popped his head up. He's like, oh, you're not my wife. And I'm like, no.
No, I am not.
So he goes over, he comes back, we're on the beach. In 2009, October of 2009, that guy was 2 cubes away from me at Charles Schwab.
Wow, that's crazy.
We work together. We are on St. John in the Virgin Islands, on the farthest shore, on a hike that you have to hike past the shore out at a K that you can't get to unless you snorkel out to it. And he literally bumped into me. So I'm talking to him and his wife. He bought his wife and him a mask and pipe for snorkeling 3 years ago. They spent 3 years organizing this trip. I could have stayed at Charles Schwab. I could have said no to the woo world. I could have not seen Archangel Gabriel and gone to be a massage therapist. I could have stayed there and done that. But here I am. I go to St. Thomas and St. John in the Caribbean every year for 2 or 3 weeks. They waited 3 years to go for the first time in their life at 55. I've been going for decades. And it was such a wake-up call that whatever I'm going through now, whatever hardship and pivoting and moving and adjusting and the economy and the energy and whatever like that, I'm still winning.
Sure.
Because I said yes to the whole concept, the possibility that there is another way to live that's not about being busy, being in the cube, sitting there, beige walls, beige people, beige carpeting, and waiting to die.
Yeah. And that's like really easy to do, man. Like, I mean, not for me. I'd be taken off the game board like in a week in that environment. Like I couldn't. I'd be. This brain and this body is not meant for that. Like, not even a little bit.
Most people aren't.
No, but I could psychologically. That's like the opposite of everything I stand for. But what I love about what you said though is our family jokes a lot. We're like the king of the 4-day weekend.
Yes.
Because we don't take these epic week or 2-week European vacations, right? Like I'm actually going on my first 2-week vacation since my honeymoon 27 years ago. Like, and my kids have never been on one. So like, this is a little weird to go on it. Most of them are like 3 days, 4 days, because at the end of the day, even though it costs you money and it's, it's long day of travel to go somewhere for 3 days, Not one time have I ever remembered how much it cost to get to that place.
Nope.
I don't remember how much the Uber was to get from the airport to the hotel. I don't remember anything, but I remember every photograph I took.
Mm-hmm.
I remember every meal I ate with my family. I remember all of that stuff. And like, now that we've been doing that for a long time, you talk to other adults, and my kids for sure talk to their other kids. They don't have these stories. They're like, oh yeah, we went and saw this hot dog stand in Iceland that was awesome.
Yeah.
Because it looked like vagina dog, because the way it was just, and we all thought it was the funniest thing in the world, because it was in whatever Icelandic, and it looked like vagina dog. We're like, come on, that's fucking hilarious. And it's just one of those stupid little stories that'll stick with me forever, that I never would have seen unless I was like, hey, let's go to fucking Iceland for a minute. Like,
and that's the difference between, do you live now, or do you bank on the fact that you can live when you're 65 or 55?
They
or whatever
won't let you retire when you're 65 anymore.
No, but the point is,
that's last year's retirement.
Yeah,
you're teaching your kids that you live today and you live now.
Yeah, right.
And that's all you have, here and now. That's it. You have nothing else.
And you know what? Look, all these trips that happen, like there's like this like after problem where you're like, okay, now we have to eat ramen for a couple of days to kind of lick our wounds from this. Like, so I don't want people, this isn't like, we're just like, shuffling off.
I hate to say this. I'm going to have ramen now because Matt said that when we log off, that's lunch.
Yeah. That's lunch.
So the phrase that I use after those big trips is, well, after the ecstasy comes the laundry.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Good book.
Exactly right. Yeah. But again, even understanding that, where I was going with it is, you got to go into these things knowing that it is a yin yang situation, right? We're going to lean in hard on this experience, not because it's opulent, but because it's an experience.
And it's a shared experience.
And it's a shared experience, right? Like, well, we got a buddy, Joe, who's in this real rabbit hole, and it's for years now, but it always gets me like welled up when I talk to him about it. And he just sent out an email this week, so it's on my mind. But he had a dinner with the guy, I can't remember his name, that wrote like 18 Summers, was it, or Family Boardroom? It's the same idea. I think I got the book wrong, but the idea is you have 18 summers with your kids, right?
Yeah.
The first couple don't count because they're balls of mush. You're pushing them around in a stroller, right? Yeah. Like the last couple don't really count because they got jobs. They're prepping for college. They're with a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever.
Right.
So really you've only got like, and you start peeling it away, and then you start saying, and then your parents will die. So this summer is going to get fucked up, and something else is going to go wrong. You lost your job, so that summer might get fucked up. So when it comes down to it, you really only have this handful of summers. And I had a fucking panic attack because I was over halfway through that journey.
Yeah.
And then I immediately was like, well, wait a minute. We did this thing and we had this experience and we took this trip and we did this. And I'm like, I'm not waiting for the summer.
No.
We're just doing this shit whenever it is able to be done.
Absolutely.
But we're prioritizing it. That's the difference, right? It's like we are non-linearly, but consistently prioritizing that experience. And I think that's part what I've been saying. How do you get people to take action and own that responsibility and own that outcome? Because you can hand them the free trip to fucking wherever.
Right.
But you got to get them to the airport.
Like, you do. And how do you make it a priority? Right? Like my version of your friend is, someone sent an email out and he's very focused on becoming a billionaire. And he talked about how at his first job, when he was caddying, that he brought home his paycheck and his mom said, don't spend it. You're going to want that one day. So he put it in a bank account and then spent the summer saving his money, not going out, as he put it, not buying weed, not buying alcohol, not hanging out with his friends, just working and picking up bottles and doing like the nickel back for caps and bottles and all this other kind of stuff. And he took jobs in college instead of going home where he could make money, and specifically looked for places where he could get free food, so he didn't have to spend money on food, so he could acquire more money. So now he's 32, and he was talking about how money's never been a problem as an adult, and I've got $150,000 in the bank, and I can do this and that and go for it. He's not married. He's no girlfriend. He's awkward to talk to. He may or, so what if he hits the money mark, right? If you do it alone and all you have is money, not only can you not take it with you, but did you accidentally forget to live a life?
Yeah. And the answer is yes. I was in New York City. I cut my teeth in New York City. I, to this day, know a bunch of people scraping 50 or just over 50 that are they're just more successful versions of when I knew them in their 20s. Like they're just, okay, so you move the decimal place a couple spots to the right.
Yeah.
But for what?
For what?
Yeah. And now I look at this, I'm like, you know what? When I was 20, I also wanted to be a billionaire. I'm not going to lie, right? That was one of the only things I wanted to do, especially living in New York City. I had friends coming out of college. They got lucky on Wall Street. They're making $100 grand when they're 25. And I'm like, that is like $1 trillion.
I know.
I was like, oh my God, you are fucking, what island are you buying? This is crazy. And like, I also had that. Then I had kids and I had, fascinations with everything. But you know what? I didn't have any idea that one of the coolest things I would do in my life outside of being a parent is having a fucking podcast.
Right.
I gotta say, you guys are talking and I'm hearing that Little Boxes song in my head. And it comes up so much. And I even catch myself when I'm like trying to really sink into the materialism. Like, all right, this is the year I'm going to get the clinic fucking humming again. And I'm going to get, make money here and do this and that. And it's like, yeah, I need to make a certain amount, but like, God damn it. What am I chasing?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Not happiness.
But I'll tell you, the only reason this podcast happened though, and this kind of ties it up for me, is because I opened myself to the possibility of something interesting happening. Like I didn't manifest a show. I manifested the opportunity for a show to fill a void.
And I created a void. And you had this idea, like you knew, it did come out of the void. It came out of the nothingness, this idea of having something.
It really did. Matt and I were just talking in the back of the room and somebody said, you guys should record this.
We're like, and we went,
okay. But I feel like we've been saying, like, at least, and I think Matt maybe pulled me out of my shell a little bit more with this. I've just been saying, yeah, let's try that. A lot more since then, and it's led to some freaking amazing conversations. It's led to cool experiences that I don't think any of them would have lined up before. Right? I'm growing my hair now, so I could shave it and put it into a box, and somebody will tell me what vitamins we need. And I mean, like, you went bald, man. You shave your head, and it's like, well, not for the next couple of weeks, but it's like a cool, weird experiment.
I agree. But yeah, I mean, you have to come back to your point, Matt. I think it's the most important thing. One of the biggest points is the difference between people who are having a good time living and the people that are miserable are the people that are trying. Like you guys tried to have a podcast and it was successful because you tried. Why would people take my 6-month program? Because they want to try something. They want to try. They want to try. So you can sit gathering information, spinning it around your head. But I would say until you want it more than you want to sit on the couch or sit in the cube, or the more, at some point FOMO is a good thing, right? You're sitting there on the side of life and you're watching everybody else go down the river and you think, maybe I want to do that. I mean, I tell people all the time, intuition, as an intuition teacher, they think intuition means that, you can pick lottery tickets or something like that. But intuition is really just your future self, your next version, your 1.0, 2.0 version, just calling you forward, just saying, come on, let's do a podcast. Let's do a 6-month program. Let's go do something fun. There's some expression of life trying to come through you. And you are perfectly qualified for that job. Only you. you are the cello in the orchestra that we need. Like, you're the one. And until you want it more than you want to sit by the sidelines, nothing will happen. But unfortunately, in my experience, when people find me, it is most often when there's been something
it's an acute problem at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tragedy. There's a tragedy. They get left, they get whatever. And, you know, it's a shamanic death. It is that's the motivation, is they don't have another option. They have to look at themselves now.
And I think I love all the little topics that we've kind of drawn together here, because I'm looking back on just this conversation, but I'm like, imagination really does. You sometimes you have to see something to know what the next thing is, and if you do see the next thing is, you have to have the motivation to actually take the next step.
You do,
you know, and it all kind of like folds back in on itself, right? And I think there's a lot that I just kind of like reinforce in my own mind from this conversation. My first Ironman, actually, my brother said, "Hey, 2 buddies of mine are going to do a relay. Do you want to do the bike? Because I know you like bike riding." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do the bike." Smoked some cigarettes the day before, went down and rode a bike. And as soon as I got there, and I was, you know, in my mind, I'm like, my imagination knows I could ride a bike. And so I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll ride a bike. As soon as I got there, you know what I did see? 5,000 other people doing a full Ironman. And you know what? I took over my brain like 30 seconds after I got there. I now see a future where I am doing the full thing, not just the bike, because why the fuck am I doing? I'm doing the longest part of this. I'm like over I'm like halfway there. I might as well be. And all of a sudden, as stupid as that sounds, in my brain, I'm like, well, 112 miles of the 140 is the bike, and that's the part I'm doing. I'm like basically at the finish line.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
But
I can't, and I can't want that for you, right? Like, if I was your doctor and said an Ironman would give you all of the spiritual breakthrough that you need to get to make it to 100, like an individual person has to want it. And they can want it for vanity. They can want it just to prove to an ex-wife that they could really do this. It doesn't matter. That, you know, at some level, it doesn't matter.
Not here to judge your motivation, buddy.
Right? No. But if you don't want it more than you want your current circumstance, no, nothing will change.
Nothing's going to change.
I think that was the plot of Run, Fat Boy, Run with Simon Pegg. He starts out trying to get his girlfriend back or something, and at the end, he's running for himself.
Right.
Because you will do it for
and I think we all have to run for ourselves at the end of the day, right? You know, like, I mean, and that's the part I find so lifting on this conversation. So
absolutely. Well, because you realize, to go back to the metaphor, because I love the whole concept of, you know, in the orchestra, we need you. You are an instrument of expression, and we need you deeply. But you don't know how much fun it is to be that instrument until you're in the full orchestra and you see what we can all do together. And then suddenly you have lifted yourself to a place that you've never experienced. And then you want more.
Right. Yeah. And that is, you know, like, but you got to be, I love that you have to be open to it. It's almost like, hey, listen, all you have to do is want this and be open to it, and it'll come.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it's fine too. No one's going to cry.
Yeah, this is Free Will University. This is Earth School. You can absolutely safely paddle in the middle of the river, do nothing, fall off the waterfall at the end, and we bury you. We're not going to judge you, because no one will even know you were here. There'll be 10 people that care literally,
that you were even here.
Literally.
Yeah. So, Emily, I could literally talk to you all month. This has been like as awesome as the first one, but I would love to spend a little time on the Emily commercial. I know we all have to pay the bill somehow, and we all want to spread a message here. So, let's talk about your commercial.
So, for me, everything that I'm doing is on atlantiswolf.com, and I do 3 things. So, 1, I have an Intuition Academy program. That's a 6-month program where I guarantee results. So part of the thing that we do is we do an onboarding call. I talk to you about what you want. I help you make steps towards progress towards what you want. if you do everything in the program and it's not military style, it's like, are you giving it like a B effort? If you don't make progress, you can come through the whole thing again for $500. But it costs $10,000 to go through the program because it is amazing and the results are 100% success, permanent changes. We're talking lowered cholesterol, lowered weight from diabetic to pre-diabetic to not diabetic, to fear of flying, 72-year-old fear of flying, going to Rome to visit her son. Life-changing, permanent things are happening inside of there. If you can't afford that, there's an online version. There's also a membership version. So I do that. I do a women's retreat in September. I take 10 women to England and we do shamanic breath work. We do the Michael and Mary lines. We go to Glastonbury. We go to Avebury. We vibe with the land and the lush and eat good food, and everybody gets their own bed and their own bathroom. I also do a networking event in October, the weekend of October 16, 17, 18, for business owners. So women business owners coming together. It's really designed for women over 50 because at some level there's an isolation factor. You feel like you don't have a peer group, but it's live and live streamed. So you can be there live, or the 5 speakers that I have will also be live streamed on Saturday. So it is for women business owners and the people who support them. So you can come on to the summit on the live stream. You can support, you can find your people. It is all about networking. So it's networking in breakout rooms, networking in real life. 15 minutes out of every hour is dedicated to networking. There's 2 hours for networking at lunch, 2 hours before dinner. And we have a very cool connection with Pitch 59, and that's the electronic business card. So you make your elevator pitch. There's a transcribed version of it, all of your information, and then you hit the button, it flips over, and there's your scheduler. So you can schedule right away.
Pretty cool.
It includes QR code and a URL. So what I do is everybody who registers goes into a directory with their name, their company, their sort of business category. So everyone can start networking with each other right away, because the goal is to find each other. As I love to say, the rising tide lifts all boats.
I am a big fan of that as well. I think this show is
that's the aim of it.
To me, proves to me every week, several times a week, every time we have a show that this is happening around me, whether I want it to or not. It's like gravity, right? You're like, nope, that's real. That's happening.
It's not something you believe in or you don't. It's just a universal law.
It's just a thing. Yeah, exactly.
It is. So everything's on my website, and I would love to meet with people. There's booking links. You can book a 15-minute free call with me. I have drop-in coaching every Friday at noon. I have, forums you can fill out, send me a message. So lots of accessibility.
Nice.
My favorite word.
I love it. Well, Emily, thank you again. This was very cool to talk to you again. And I'm glad we were able to kind of keep this conversation going. It was really fun. Appreciate you.
Me too. Thanks to both of you. I really appreciate the space that you hold. It means a lot. It's a beautiful space to be in.
Thank you so much.
Rather than saying something, I'm touching my hand to my chest, like people are going to be able to hear that.
Yeah, no. The brief thud.
Hey, Tom, it's a podcast.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, listen, guys, enjoy the weekend. Thank you again. And looking forward to the next time. Take care.
And then my internet went out.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.